So what you see will exactly work in BI 4.3 the same way. All right. So this is my first just screen on my document. If I go to my first dashboard, you will see I have a bunch of tiles showing the revenue, and each tile represents the revenue for each product group. And down below, I have few charts, one for the top 5 products, some regions, and the value across, I believe this is division. Now, right now, the top 5 products you see are all the products across all the product groups. Okay, but if I want to actually, I already filtered. So right now it says all product groups. Um, so you see the top 5 products across all the groups now. What I can do is I can filter down that data by clicking on individual tiles. And now these are the top 5 products for internal product group. If I click on this tile, the charts are going to be updated for network, and the product groups are now only the products that belong to that network group, and so on. So that's something that I set up using element linking. So the concept of element linking is that you turn one of your report elements, a chart or a table or a report block, into filter. Webi has this other feature called input controls for a long time. This is a type of, and you can call it an extension of that input control, where you're giving the power of filtering to the end users. However, in this case, the charts and the tables are the filtering blocks. So you can set up that way. So in this case, I set up this particular report element. This is actually a chart, even though it looks like 4 tiles. It's actually a 100% stacked column chart. I turned this filtering, this report element, this chart, into a filter so that I can filter other blocks of data within that same report. Okay. Now I can remove that filter by clicking on that again. And now it shows all product groups. So let me show you how I set it up. So right now I'm in the reading mode. I'm going to my editing or design mode. So this is my chart. And in the build panel or the format panel, I have this filter icon. This is another tab for filtering. So you can either set up report level, block level filter, which is what I have done here. The data is filtered for 2021 just for that block. I also have another tab called element linking, where I set up the filtering features for that block. So let me show you this here, and then we'll set up a new one. So I went to the settings of that element link. So I set up so that it filters for that product group. So the filtering object is the product group. Now, if your chart has more than 1 dimensions, it's going to list all of them, and then you can pick the one that you want to filter on. In my case, I could have left it at all objects because I only have one, but I like to specify it. And then I give it a name and then an optional description. And on the left-hand side, I choose the blocks or the reporting elements that I want to filter when I do the filtering action. So I don't necessarily have to select and filter rest of the charts. Usually it's a dashboard design decision, whether you want to make it consistent that you filter everything else, or however you want to make sure that it makes sense to the user, but you have the option to either choose all of them or some of them as the destination of your filter. So these are the following, these are the charts or tables that are going to get filtered. Okay. So if I go ahead and cancel, that's how I set it up. Now, let me also show you the filter bar. So the filter bar usually has all the input controls that you set up. For example, I have one input control um, between values versus percentage. Um, mm, okay. So if I change the percent and the values, my pie chart changes, but I'm not going to get into that. But this is where my input controls are listed. But element linking is also a type of input control. So if I reset, actually, let me filter again. So if I filter for internals, I can either remove that filter by clicking on it again, or I can reset that filter from here. Even though it says reset all input controls, it also resets any filters applied through element linking. So remember that element linking is considered a type of input control within Webi. And this is very useful because a lot of times you might have more than one charts set up with element linking, and you may have applied filters on 3 or 4 charts. Instead of having to go to each individual charts to remove the filter, you can reset all of them at once from that filter bar. All right. Okay. So let me show you how I set it up. So I'm going to go to this particular um, document. This is actually calling another document using open document linking. And I have a few element linking already set up there, but I'm going to add one more for the demo. All right, so if I go to the revenue tab, I already added filter on the product group again. This is a much simpler setup here. And this particular chart, the bar chart on the right, shows the product name by filtered for product group. If I want to include this customer state map for that filter, again, I will go to I select my chart, filtering chart, go to the build panel, and then the filtering panel, and then to the element linking, and I can edit that and then add the other block, which is the map. And if I do that and go to my reading mode, one big change from 4.2 to 4.3 is that the element linking, you set it up in design mode, but to test it out, you always have to go to the reading mode. So, so let's see, this is how it looks right now. Let's pick one state. Let's say Arizona. This is the value of revenue for Arizona for all the product groups. If I filter for peripheral, you can see the color changed and my value changed as well. Okay. Um, so I'm going to set this one up from very beginning. So this is my region chart, and I'm going to go to the filter build panel. And then when nothing has been set up yet, you will see a create element link button like that. And then I'm going to choose custom region for my filtering object. And I'm going to filter all the other blocks for consistency. I must add a name. And then back to my design mode. Now I can filter by each region. So if I filter for Midwest, my map now shows only the states from Midwest. And if I filter for, let's say, West, this is a quick way to test without comparing the values. Uh, but yeah, even these values has changed. Okay. Now, let me show you how to capture the selection. Because here, I don't have a way to actually uh, see in the chart that this has been filtered by West. So I'm going to the formatting panel. And then for the title, I'm going to add a custom title. So in 4.3, they introduced a couple of new functions, one called input control filters and one is element linking filters. It looks like this, element linking filters. If you start typing element, it will pop up. And here I have to give the name of the filtering block. This was, I'm going to change this to donut. Now, so now it shows West. So, and now you can add more text like product for West, something like that. You can customize by adding other formula, other text. And let me show you, if I remove the filter, it doesn't show anything. So the way the formula, the function works, it returns the value if you have selected something, but it returns blank if you have selected nothing. So what we typically do is add a clause for that. So if this returns nothing, then all products, sorry, all regions. Else, the actual value. wonky for some reason. So just for the sake of time, I just typed all for now, but you can type all regions or whatever your dimension is. So now if you filter for a region, it shows products for South. And if you remove that filter, it shows all. Okay. So that's how you can use it and customize the title for all the elements that you're filtering. Um, wanted to show another thing. So back in my other dashboard, I wanted to show you this tab. You saw Roxanne showed how you can add um, in report filters in BI 2025. So, but in I used element linking to kind of create that same effect. So this table, I can filter for either South or Midwest. You can see their customer region changing, or West. So this is not a new UI5 component. This is a horizontal table. And I assigned the customer region to that. And then in the formatting, I took the header away and I removed all the borders and set up the element linking to filter this table by this block. And now it works just like as if they're um, buttons. But in BI 2025, um, you can do that with one of the UI5 components now. The reason I like this, I use this for a client project, actual project, and what it saved before something like this, they always used to export this tab, this table into Excel to do their filtering and everything. But after adding element linking, um, they just filtered here and did their analysis within Webi, which we always want that they stay within Webi as much as possible. Um, so yeah, and with that, I conclude. Any questions? Yep.
What happens if you have more than four buttons at the top? Do you have a limit for it, or can you set it up?
You have to know your data a little bit. So it will expand because it's coming from the data and it's a table. So if you have six regions coming in your data, it is going to have six buttons, but you just need to plan the placement of the object beforehand. Yeah, so you kind of have to know your data. So yeah, and that's it. Any other question? All right, thank you.